Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Tens of millions of dollars headed to the Southern Tier as part of the settlement the state negotiated with drug companies accused of helping to fuel the opioid epidemic. The state attorney general here in person delivering this news. Big Fox's Matt Kleindienst breaks down where the money is headed.
Good evening, Ann. Attorney General Letitia James' Heal New York tour made a stop in the Southern Tier, where overdose deaths have spiked drastically since the beginning of the pandemic. In a statement, James stated that the settlement is a start towards healing. Several months after New York reached a $1 billion settlement with various drug manufacturers, Attorney General Letitia James stopped to deliver checks to the Southern Tier. James announced that over $26.7 million will be delivered to the Southern Tier. Steuben and Chemung counties are expected to receive $1.6 and $1.8 million respectively. Most of the money will be used in drug abatement programs to treat affected residents. When the settlement was first announced, I spoke with Darlene Smith of the Steuben Health Department about the impact the settlement money would have on the county.
Any infusion of funding in that area will certainly bolster our efforts. Hopefully we should be able to increase the volume and the way in which we are currently providing education and treatment at this time.
According to the Attorney General, overdose deaths in the Southern Tier spiked by 30% from 2019, with the total number of deaths eclipsing 93,000 last year. Matt Kleindienst, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
A new study suggests that mixing and matching booster shots may give better protection against COVID-19. Brianna Arredondo reports.
Earlier this year, a group of 458 fully vaccinated people joined a booster shot study for the federal government. Wednesday, scientists shared their results with the world for mixing and matching booster doses.
It's also really important to know that mixing and matching actually seems to be better than staying with the same vaccine.
Dr. Michael Tang with USF Health studies viruses. He tells us over video conference the NIH study shows promise. Scientists tried out 9 different combinations of the booster shots. All combos appeared to work just as well, but some boosters worked better. They found people who got the J&J shot but got boosted with one Pfizer or Moderna shot got a better immune response than sticking with the same maker.
When you get that boost of the mRNA vaccine with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, now you're basically pretty close to the levels of the boosted, now 3-dose mRNA vaccine. So, it's pretty good. And hopefully that protection lasts pretty long too.
Scientists measured the antibodies 2 and 4 weeks after the booster shots, but there are some limits to the study, including its small size and lack of racial diversity. Mixing and matching vaccine boosters is not currently FDA approved, but researchers like Dr. Tang say this study is promising for the future.
Once all of these vaccines become fully approved on their own, then there will be opportunities to, get a booster maybe that is not the same.
Reporting in Tampa, Brianna Arredondo, Fox 13 News.
A new medicine to treat COVID-19 could be on the way. The U.S. government is starting to review Regeneron's COVID-19 monoclonal antibody cocktail for full approval. The drug maker says the Food and Drug Administration has accepted its priority review application. The treatment currently has emergency use authorization. Regeneron wants full approval to treat patients infected with the virus who are not in the hospital. The FDA has given the company a target action date of April 13th, 2022, but it is planning to hold an advisory committee meeting to discuss the drug before then. The Transportation Security Administration says 40% of its workers are unvaccinated, and the deadline is looming. They need to be fully vaccinated by November 22nd, right before the busy Thanksgiving travel period. It takes weeks for doses to kick in, so time is running out. Even with the single-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine, employees would have to get the shot by November 8th. The TSA administrator says the agency is creating contingency plans in case of a staff shortage. Some good news in the battle against COVID-19. The CDC projects deaths and hospitalizations will decline over the next 4 weeks. The CDC forecast suggests the total death toll will hit at least 740,000 by November 6th. Now that's a grim number, but it indicates 3 weeks in a row with lower projections. The agency predicts hospitalizations will decline for a 5th week in a row, but that case count will stay the same. Vaccinated people are more likely to survive infections and less likely to require hospitalizations. Kids cannot get the shots until they're 12 right now. Guthrie Hospital staff came together to host a special wedding for a patient's family. Utpal Roy Chowdhury was diagnosed with glioblastoma, a terminal brain tumor. In order to be there to give his daughter away, the bride and hospital staff quickly arranged for a traditional Hindu wedding, complete with traditional food, music, dress, and prayers. Utpal's daughter was thankful for the effort to make the wedding possible and to have her father by her side. Companies all across the country continue their search for available workers just ahead of the holiday season. Today, the Labor Department released its jobless claims report, which shows a modest drop, bringing the number down to a new low. Economists are still trying to come up with an answer to the ongoing supply chain issues impacting the shipment and delivery of goods. Mike Emanuel has a closer look.
With just 10 weeks to Christmas, some store owners are worried.
How's your inventory looking?
We're running about 30% below what we would like to be at this time of the year.
The supply chain crisis hitting companies large and small all across the country. Economists believe the delay of goods could be here for months, so the Biden administration is trying to ease the problem, working with the private sector to speed up shipments ahead of the holiday season. Business leaders say more needs to be done.
The problem is that once we get the merchandise off the ships on the port to our warehouse, we cannot get truckers, we cannot get labor to move them to the retailers.
And there are more labor problems. In recent days, thousands of union workers in different parts of the U.S. have gone on strike, including these John Deere employees in Iowa demanding better pay and working conditions.
We're in a unique labor situation, but this is all part of the bullwhip effect from the pandemic.
The Labor Department released its jobless claims report. 293,000 Americans filed for first-time unemployment benefits last week. It's the first time the number fell below 300,000 since the pandemic began. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
About 10,000 United Auto Workers union members went on strike against John Deere early this morning. The union had reached a tentative agreement on a new 6-year contract with the farm and construction equipment maker 2 weeks ago. But 90% of the rank-and-file union members rejected it in a ratification vote that concluded on Sunday. Union and management negotiators talked into the night Wednesday, trying to reach a new deal, but they were unable to reach one. The strike shuts operations at 11 factories in Illinois, Iowa, and Kansas, and 3 distribution centers in Georgia, Illinois, and Colorado. A mortuary in Wyoming confirms they have the remains of Gabby Petito. The Valley Mortuary in Jackson, Wyoming also says they are in touch with Petito's family, who were traveling to Wyoming Wednesday. Teton County Coroner Brent Blue announced his findings Tuesday from his office's examination of Gabby Petito's body. Blue says she died from strangulation, and the manner of death was homicide. The FBI and other agencies continue to search for Brian Laundrie, Petito's fiancé, who is a person of interest in connection with her death. Troubling news out of the Pentagon. Army active duty suicide rates are up. New reports out of D.C. say suicide rates among active duty Army members rose 46% in the last few months. 60 active duty service members took their lives in the second quarter of this year, compared to 41 last year. This statistic comes as suicide rates within the entire military community also are rising, with suicides spiking 15% over last year. Military higher-ups argue the issue of mental health and suicide prevention should become a top priority in order to better protect our service members. Another wildfire is scorching land in Southern California. This one is threatening dozens of homes, but strong wind gusts could impact firefighters. Jeff Paul has more.
Firefighters in Southern California are battling shifting winds as they try to contain yet another wildfire. Since erupting Monday, the Alisal fire has charred more than 24 square miles west of Santa Barbara. Crews working the rugged terrain got some help from several water-dropping air tankers and helicopters on Wednesday. But fire officials say the strong wind gusts threatened to ground those aircraft.
We had 40-50 mile-an-hour winds on the top of the ridge where the fire started, and trying to fly and get down there was incredibly rough and not a safe environment for us to be even trying to get some retardant on the ground.
The Alisal fire stands at roughly 5% contained, threatening more than 100 homes, ranches, and other structures. On Wednesday, it burned just a half a mile away from a ranch once owned by former President Ronald Reagan and his wife Nancy. And it continued to force the closure of a major highway.
Our operational objectives are high priority is to open up the Highway 101 corridor and the railway, as this is a common commerce avenue and is high priority for our incident.
Southern California largely avoided fire damage for much of this fire season as flames scorched the northern part of the state. So far this year, California wildfires have burned nearly 2.5 million acres and destroyed more than 3,600 structures. The National Weather Service has issued a fire weather watch for much of Los Angeles County beginning on Friday. In Los Angeles, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
Elmira residents are being asked to keep an eye out for ticks when walking around outside. According to health officials, ticks remain active as long as temperatures are above freezing. Residents are advised to wear repellent and wear long-sleeve clothes if they're outdoors for long periods of time. Daily tick checks and showers are also recommended to remove any loose ticks. Still ahead tonight, a grim milestone. New CDC data shows a record number of people died from drug overdoses during a 12-month period during the pandemic.
These tragic statistics really speak to the despair that many Americans are experiencing throughout the COVID-19 pandemic.
We take a look at the numbers and this trend that one health expert is calling a collision of health crises.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. It was a relatively warm day today, but our unseasonably warm weather will be coming to an end. I think we have one more day before the cooler air arrives, and this is responsible for that cooler air. A cold front, or the leading edge of colder air, will be filtering in by the end of the week. You can see the showers and thunderstorms out ahead of it, and clear conditions right behind it, and so I think that's what we're going to see by the end of the weekend. But we are expecting increasing cloud cover. There could be a few spotty showers for your Friday, and then finally that cold front comes in, and we are expecting a soaking rain on Saturday, and then cooler conditions as we reach the end of the weekend. So here's a look at your weather impacts. Tomorrow there could be a few thunderstorms in the afternoon. Rain will be likely on Saturday. It looks like we're going to get a good soaking rain as well, and then colder conditions by your Sunday. But for your Friday, if you're planning ahead, temperatures will be mild as we start off the day with readings in the 60s, cloudy all throughout the day with the possibility of a few showers in the afternoon. Our highs, though, will be in the mid 70s. 76 degrees is what we will top out at in Corning and Elmira, and then we'd start to drop back down into the 60s. So temperature wise, we will be about 10 to 15 degrees above normal, and then here comes the rain. So here is a look at our future radar, where we are seeing quiet conditions for night, just a few clouds in our sky, and then you'll notice just an isolated shower or two in the morning, and then increasing rain chances in the afternoon. I think the heaviest rain will be held off to our west, but then Friday night into Saturday, some of this heavy rain will move into our hometowns. You will notice the yellow and the orange that will be showing up. That's the moderate rain that will be moving in on Saturday. So it looks like it's going to be scattered throughout the day. 4 o'clock still remaining in those showers and wet conditions, and there will be a few lingering showers on your Sunday that will last through the afternoon as well. So it looks like it's going to be a damp weekend. Tonight, though, we don't have to be really concerned about rain. Maybe just an isolated shower could be possible by early tomorrow morning. Temperature wise, around 59 degrees in Corning, 58 degrees in Elmira, around 60 degrees though in Wayland, Watkins Glen around 61 degrees. Our highs tomorrow will be definitely above normal. So we average about 61 degrees right now, and we're going to be well above that. 77 degrees the high in Corning, 76 in Elmira, and 78 degrees in Watkins Glen. As we move through the weekend, again, we're going to get a soaker on Saturday and then just a few lingering showers on Sunday, but those winds will pick up. It will be gusty at times. Take a look at that high. We're going to be below normal, 58 degrees, and our overnight lows will drop down into the 40s.
A grim milestone. New data from the CDC shows a record number of people died of reported drug overdoses in a 12-month period during the pandemic. One health expert called it a collision of health crises. Mandy Gaither takes a look at the new numbers in today's Health Minute.
During the pandemic, a new record high. More than 96,000 drug overdose deaths reported from March 2020 to March 2021, according to new numbers from the CDC.
Each person who has lost their life during this time period leaves behind a family and a community who misses them.
It's an increase of nearly 30% in these deaths from the year before. Vermont had the largest increase in overdose deaths of any state. Reported overdose deaths there rose more than 85% in that time period.
These tragic statistics really speak to the despair that many Americans are experiencing throughout the COVID-19 pandemic.
The CDC says opioids accounted for the highest number of overdose deaths, followed by synthetic opioids, excluding methadone. Dr. Trent Hall's research on the overdose crisis in Ohio was published in JAMA Network Open last year. The addiction medicine specialist at Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center says the increase in the synthetic opioid fentanyl is highly concerning.
Fentanyl is coming to contaminate local drug supplies in new areas, and that's pretty scary.
But Hall says there is hope. Treatment helps, and so can being prepared.
Carry a naloxone rescue kit, as you can see here. This is something that we can all carry around, and in the event that we encounter someone who's experiencing overdose, you can save a life.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A dog named Hubert owes his freedom to rescuers in Boston. He got stuck in a pipe on Wednesday. Eric Kane has more on the effort to save him.
Oh my God, look at him.
After being trapped for hours in a storm drain, Hubert the hound is safely back in the arms of his owners.
This is one lucky dog. We're so lucky to live in the city, but in a city that takes us that serious, unbelievable.
Hubert got into trouble at Millennium Park when he managed to crawl inside this pipe, sending his owners into a panic and first responders racing to the scene.
You're really shaken up.
He's our kid. We don't have any kids. This is it.
Firefighters and utility crews spent 2 hours trying to get the husky hound out.
We used a camera and some other equipment, made holes in the pipe, and we could track the dog.
He's a little overweight like some of us, you know what I mean? It's a 16-inch pipe, so as he's moving forward, he can't move back. So we just kind of hit him in the backside, and the fire guys we were able to pull him up out of the manhole.
The playful pooch walked away shaken up, but relieved to be homeward bound with his thankful owners.
Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you for all your help. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your awareness and your consciousness around this dog. You really did an amazing job.
Before his school day even starts, one Massachusetts boy is teaching his own lessons of kindness. His way of telling strangers good morning is turning a lot of heads in a great way. Sam Reed has the story.
For the past several days, 10-year-old Michael Richardson of Swansea makes the most of his mornings before the bus comes.
I think this one would be good.
While everyone else is waking up or driving to work along Wilbur Avenue,
I've been going out at right after I ate breakfast.
Michael happily holds his homemade signs to send people passing by a positive message.
To make people's day good, because it's in the morning, and then if you feel good at the morning, you'll probably feel good for the rest of the day.
At first, his now regular routine was something his family didn't recognize.
Michael waits for the bus in the morning, and I'm already at school at that point, so is my husband, so either my parents are here or our neighbor.
But the people passing by loved every minute of it and wanted the Richardsons to know they really appreciated it.
I would get text messages from his former principal, and they would say, what, your son is not shy about living on the main road, and this is what he was doing, and people just kept saying it.
First, it started out with him doing a few dance moves, and he noticed the joy it brought others. Then, using his mom's art supplies, he made these signs of sincerity to wish others well.
I feel happy because I see a ton of people just smile.
That was the case for a stranger passing by, who posted on social media about how his sign was exactly what she needed that day.
Oh my gosh, I'm like, Michael, I think this is about you. And he's like, that was me. Look, here's my sign.
Michael was over the moon that even though traffic comes and goes, his effort stuck around for at least one person.
I like to make people happy.
A reminder that if you slow down and take it all in, you might be surprised at the signs you may see.
Any little bit of kindness is helpful.
Showing you something good, I'm Sam Reed.
It turns out that beer and blue cheese have been enjoyed by Europeans as far back as nearly 3,000 years. That finding now coming from an unlikely source, ancient feces. Scientists analyzed samples of preserved human excrement found at underground salt mines in Western Austria. They found 2 fungi that are used to produce blue cheese and beer. The findings are giving researchers insight into how sophisticated culinary practices were in Iron Age Europe. As William Shatner rides high from his historic Star Trek, an impressive creation from a galaxy far, far away is set to steal his thunder. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
The creative force is very strong with one Star Wars cosplayer who, along with a group of friends, has constructed a life-sized replica of Luke Skywalker's X-Wing starfighter. The cosplayer, who goes by just IL, documented the process on Instagram and says it took the group 3 months to build the ship before assembling it. The finished product cost $5,000, is 42 feet long, and even has a slot for homemade Skywalker sidekick R2-D2. This isn't the creative group's first trip to the intergalactic rodeo. In early 2021, the team went viral for building a 45-foot-long replica of the Razor Crest gunship from The Mandalorian. Maybe they just love bringing fan-favorite ships to life, or, given the timing of this latest reveal, maybe they didn't want someone else's high-profile Star Trek to hog the sci-fi spotlight. Uh-oh, shots fired, Shatner! A Kansas City group's artistic efforts are turning vacant city buildings from eyesores into eye candy. The group Spray KC says the city has a problem with vacant buildings being graffitied, so they're taking tagging to the next level, creating massive murals to brighten up the empty spaces instead.
I think that's outstanding. Vandalism is a major problem.
The artwork, they say, doesn't just beautify the city, but could attract new businesses to the available spaces.
Compared to a blighted building, it changes your mood as you drive by it on a daily basis.
For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
A Florida webcam is giving us a bird's eye view of a bald eagle nest in the making. These 2 majestic birds of a feather are parents. They've been a bonded pair for more than 10 years, but a major storm destroyed their last nest, so the Ron McGill Conservation Endowment and Wildlife Rescue of Dade County teamed up to help them out. They built a solid platform for this year's nest, and the eagles have taken to it. Their hope is that with a more solid foundation, the nest could withstand the next storm, successfully leading to hatchlings. To keep an eye on it, they've installed a webcam. They're sharing the live stream with the world. Look for the link on Zoo Miami's website. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.